Jack Miller sat very still in the enormous council chamber. The voices of alien representatives echoed around him, but he barely heard them anymore. After 15 years as humanity's ambassador to the Galactic Council, he knew what they would say before they said it. The human request for expansion to the Orient sector is denied, announced High Counselor Vextra, the ancient Syntheri leader. Her blue-scaled skin shimmered under the chamber lights. The Council has determined that humanity requires more time to demonstrate responsible governance before additional territories can be granted. Jack didn't flinch, though inside he felt something break. This was the third denial in 5 years. Earth's growing population needed room to expand, and the 3 small solar systems they'd been allocated were reaching capacity. May I ask what criteria humanity has failed to meet this time? Jack asked, keeping his voice calm despite his frustration. The Meveran representative, a tall being with 4 arms and silver eyes, spoke next. Your species remains unpredictable. Your development is too rapid. The Council believes humans require at least another century before they are ready for further expansion. Another century. Jack nodded politely and made notes on his tablet. Around the massive circular chamber, representatives from over 200 species watched the exchange. Most seemed bored. This was routine. Humans ask for something. Humans get denied. When the session ended, Jack walked quickly through the gleaming corridors of Nexus Station. The massive space station served as the Galactic Council headquarters, a supposedly neutral ground where all species could meet as equals. But some were clearly more equal than others. In the human embassy section, Jack's team waited for him. Dr. Alice Warren, the science advisor, looked up from her screens. Commander Peter Hayes stood near the window, looking out at the stars. Cultural attaché Olivia Garcia sat with a cup of coffee, her expression telling Jack she already knew the outcome. They said no, Jack announced, dropping his tablet on the table. Big surprise, Peter said, turning from the window. The military officer's face showed the same frustration Jack felt. That's what? The 12th major denial in 3 years. 14th, Olivia corrected. I've been keeping count. Alice sighed. What reason did they give this time? The usual. We're too unpredictable, too immature, too human. Jack poured himself a coffee. But this time they added that we need to wait another century before they'll even reconsider. The room fell silent. They had all been here long enough to understand what this meant. The 5 ancient species that control the Council, the Syntheri, Meverans, Quilaxians, Drenthai, and Illuvians, had never intended to treat humans as equals. I think it's time, Jack said quietly. The others looked at him. They had discussed this possibility many times in private, but never officially. The withdrawal? Alice asked. Jack nodded. President Mitchell gave me the authorization last month, if I deemed it necessary. He looked around at his team. I'm making that call now. They won't take it seriously, Peter warned. They'll think we're bluffing. That's their problem. Jack activated the secure communication line to Earth. I'm done watching them pat us on the head like children. As they waited for the connection, Jack remembered the day 70 years ago, when humans first joined the Council. The excitement, the hope for a bright future among the stars. No one had realized then that the Council saw humans only as the newest youngsters to manage and control. What do you think will happen? Olivia asked. After we leave. Jack looked at his team, the people who had worked alongside him for years. I don't know, he admitted. But I know what will happen if we stay. Nothing will change. And humanity deserves better. The communication screen lit up, showing the face of Defense Secretary Sam Carter back on Earth. Ambassador Miller, Sam greeted him formally. What's the Council's decision? Exactly what we expected, Jack replied. It's time to implement Protocol Exodus. Sam's expression grew serious. The President will want to speak with you directly. Stand by. As they waited, Jack looked out at the beautiful, massive station that housed representatives from across the galaxy. Soon, Humans would no longer be among them. They think today is just another day of the council, Jack said quietly. They don't realize it's the beginning of something else entirely. 1 week later, the great council chamber was packed. News of humanity's planned withdrawal had spread quickly through the station. Many had dismissed it as a ploy for attention. Others weren't so sure. Jack Miller stood at the center of the chamber, dressed in the formal blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Behind him stood his team: Alice, Peter, and Olivia, along with 20 other human staff members. All wore the same solemn expression. Representatives of the Galactic Council, Jack began, his voice carrying through the vast space. For 70 years, humanity has participated in this body. We joined with hope and optimism, believing we would be welcomed as equals. The 5 ancient species representatives watched from their elevated positions. The Xanthari ambassador, Krelivor, looked down with narrowed yellow eyes. The other 4 didn't bother to hide their boredom. Today, by unanimous decision of Earth's government, I formally announce our withdrawal from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. Several representatives stood up in surprise. We came as equals, Jack continued. We leave as something else. We leave as a species that refuses to be considered lesser. We leave as a people who will forge their own path among the stars. High Counselor Vextra leaned forward. Ambassador Miller, this dramatic gesture is unnecessary. The Council has always valued Earth's participation. Has it? Jack asked. In 70 years, how many human proposals have been approved? How many human ships are allowed beyond our 3 assigned systems? How many humans serve in Council leadership? He paused. The answer to all is the same: almost none. The Drenthai representative, a being made of swirling gases contained in a specialized suit, spoke next. This is mere theatrics. Humanity cannot survive without Council protection. You will return within a year, begging to be readmitted. Jack smiled slightly. That is your prediction. We'll see who is correct. In the corner of the chamber, representatives from some of the newer Council species watched with interest. The Taraki, bird-like beings with brilliant red feathers, whispered among themselves. They too had faced similar treatment. Our embassy will be cleared by tomorrow, Jack announced. All human personnel are returning to Earth space. Any Council citizens in human territory will be granted safe passage home. The Quilaxian military leader stood up. And what of your defense? The Council fleet protects your borders from pirates and worse. Without our ships, you leave yourselves vulnerable. We'll manage, Peter Hayes said, speaking for the first time. Earth's fleet has grown considerably in recent years. This caused another stir. The Council had strict limits on the size of member species' military forces. If humans had been building ships beyond their quota. Jack held up a data crystal. This contains official documentation of our withdrawal, signed by Earth's president and full government. Our decision is final. He placed the crystal on the central podium, where it glowed blue against the silver surface. Good luck to you all, Jack said. Then he turned and led the human delegation out of the chamber. In the hallway, Olivia let out a long breath. That's it then. That's it, Jack agreed. The ships are ready to take us home. As they walked toward the human embassy section to finish packing, Krelivor, the Xanthari ambassador, approached them. His tall, reptilian form blocked their path. A word, Ambassador Miller, he said, his voice a low hiss. Jack nodded to his team to continue ahead. What is it, Ambassador? Krelivor leaned closer. Without our protection, you will not survive what comes. Is that a threat? Jack asked. A prediction, Krelivor replied. There are things at the edges of known space that your people cannot imagine. The Council has kept them at bay for millennia. Jack met the alien's gaze steadily. Then perhaps you should have treated us as partners rather than children. Krelivor's scaled face showed no emotion. You make a grave mistake. The universe is far more dangerous than you know. We'll take our chances, Jack said, and walked past him. On the human transport ship, Jack watched through the viewport as Nexus Station grew smaller. 70 years of human presence there ended in a single day. His communication device beeped. It was President Mitchell. "Is it done?" she asked. "It's done," Jack confirmed. "We're coming home. Then we proceed with the next phase," the president said. "See you soon, Ambassador." As the ship jumped to faster than light speed, Jack wondered what exactly would come next. For better or worse, humanity was now on its own. 6 months after humanity's departure from the Galactic Council, Earth's space was buzzing with activity. The 3 solar systems under human control had transformed. Without council restrictions, new colonies sprouted on previously forbidden planets. Trade ships moved freely between human worlds. In his new office in Boston, Jack Miller reviewed the latest reports. Earth had not collapsed without council support, as many aliens had predicted. Instead, it was thriving. "The new trade agreement with the Terraki is ready for your review," said Olivia, entering his office with a tablet. After returning to Earth, she had become his deputy in the newly formed Interstellar Relations Department. "They left the council too?" Jack asked, surprised. "Not officially, but they're ignoring most council directives now," Olivia explained. "They want to increase trade with us by 300%. Jack smiled. The bird-like Terraki had always been friendly to humans. Now they were the first to break ranks with the Council to strengthen ties with Earth. "Any word from Nexus Station?" he asked. "Nothing official," Olivia replied. "But our intelligence suggests the Council is in disarray. Several smaller species are questioning the leadership of the Ancient Five." Jack was about to respond when his secure communication device beeped. The screen showed an incoming message from Dr. Mara Reeves, a human scientist who had chosen to remain with the Council's research division, even after Earth's withdrawal. "I need to take this," Jack said. Olivia nodded and left the room. Mara's face appeared on the screen. She looked worried, with dark circles under her eyes. "Ambassador Miller, thank you for accepting my call," she said quickly. "I'm not an ambassador anymore," Jack reminded her. "Just Jack is fine." "Jack, I need to share something with you. But the Council is monitoring all communications," Mara said, her voice low. "I'm sending encrypted data to Dr. Frank Bishop at Earth Science Division. It's important he sees it immediately." "What's this about?" Jack asked. Mara glanced over her shoulder. "There's something happening at the edge of Council space. 3 stars have gone dark in the past month. The Council is covering it up, but I've been analyzing the data." The transmission suddenly cut off. Jack tried to reconnect but couldn't get through. Concerned, he immediately called Frank Bishop, an old friend who now led Earth's main research facility. "Jack," Frank greeted him. "I was just about to call you. I received a strange data package from Mara Reeves." "What does it show?" Jack asked. "I'm still analyzing it, but it's disturbing. Astronomical readings from a region called the Vega Sector show energy patterns I've never seen before." Frank's voice was grim. "Something is literally consuming the energy of stars, Jack, and it's moving toward populated systems." An hour later, Jack sat in a secure meeting room with Earth's leadership. President Mitchell looked grave as Frank presented Mara's data on the large screen. 3 stars completely drained of energy in just 4 weeks. Frank explained. "Whatever this is, it's not natural." Defense Secretary Sam Carter leaned forward. "Has the Council taken any action?" "According to Mara's notes, they're denying there's a problem," Jack said. "The Quilaxians, who control the Council military, are calling her findings a fabrication." "Why would they deny it?" asked the president. "Politics," Jack suggested. "Admitting there's a threat they can't immediately control would undermine their authority, and they certainly don't want to admit a human scientist discovered it." "So what do we do?" Sam asked. Jack looked at the star map showing the advancing darkness. "We prepare. If the Council won't act, we need to be ready." "Ready for what?" the president asked. Frank pointed to his calculations. Based on this trajectory, whatever this thing is, it will reach Council space in approximately 6 months. After that, maybe a year before it could reach human territory. Then we have a year to prepare, Jack said firmly. In her lab on Nexus Station, Mara Reeves frantically gathered her research. Alarms blared as security forces approached. Her warning to Earth had been detected. Now she had minutes to escape with her discoveries before the Council silenced her permanently. They can deny the truth, she whispered, but they can't stop what's coming. 1 year after humanity's departure from the Galactic Council, the threat emerged fully. They called themselves the Void Harbingers, or at least that was how their communications translated. They weren't a species in the traditional sense, but energy beings that fed on the power of stars, leaving cold, dead husks behind. The first Council defense line fell in less than a day. Captain Ryan Adams of the Earth ship Valiant was patrolling the border of human space when he detected the distress signal. His orders were clear. Observe only. Do not engage with Council matters. But the signal wasn't coming from a Council military vessel. It was a civilian refugee ship. Life signs, Ryan asked his sensor officer. Over 300, Captain, replied Lieutenant Kelly Wright. Mostly Taraki, but I'm detecting at least 6 other species. They're running on emergency power only. Ryan made his decision. Move to intercept, prepare medical teams, and ready the docking bay. The Valiant changed course, accelerating toward the damaged ship. As they approached, the crew could see the extensive damage. Something had torn through its hull, leaving strange burn patterns unlike any weapon they'd seen before. Captain, Kelly said suddenly, I'm detecting another ship approaching. Council military vessel, Quilaxian design. Ryan frowned. Open a channel. The screen filled with the face of a Quilaxian commander, his crystalline features glittering with anger. Human vessel. This refugee ship is under Council jurisdiction. Leave immediately. They're in distress, Ryan replied calmly. We're offering humanitarian aid. This is not your concern, the Quilaxian insisted. These refugees have witnessed classified events. The Council will handle this matter. Ryan noticed something odd. The Quilaxian ship was positioning itself to fire on the refugee vessel, not to rescue it. Kelly, scan that Council ship, Ryan ordered quietly while muting the communication. What are they planning? Kelly's eyes widened. Captain, they're charging weapons. I think they're going to destroy the refugee ship. Without hesitation, Ryan gave the order. Move the Valiant between the ships, shields at maximum. The Quilaxian commander's face contorted with fury. What are you doing? Preventing a massacre, Ryan replied, ending the transmission. What followed was a tense standoff. The Quilaxian ship eventually retreated, unwilling to start a direct conflict with Earth. The refugees were brought aboard the Valiant, scared and desperate. A Taraki elder named Kirura approached Ryan on the bridge. Thank you, Captain. The Council, they wanted to silence us. Silence you about what? Ryan asked. The Harbingers, Kirura whispered. We saw them consume our homeworld. The Council forces arrived, but instead of fighting, they just watched. Then they collected survivors and planned to eliminate us to keep it secret. Back on Earth, Intelligence Officer Lisa Rodriguez was piecing together intercepted Council communications. For months, she had been monitoring transmissions from outside Council space, creating a picture of the unfolding disaster. 3 more Council worlds have fallen, she reported to Jack Miller and the Earth leadership. The Void Harbingers are moving faster than predicted. Jack studied the star map showing the path of destruction. And still no unified Council response. Worse than that, Lisa explained. The 5 ancient species are evacuating their core worlds while leaving the younger species to fend for themselves. They're sacrificing billions to save themselves. President Mitchell looked grim. So the mighty Galactic Council is collapsing at the first real test. We have to decide our position, Jack said. Do we offer help to the Council that rejected us, or do we focus solely on defending our own space? The room fell silent as Dr. Frank Bishop entered with Dr. Mara Reeves. She had managed to escape Nexus Station with her research and reached Earth just days ago. "We may have found something," Frank announced. "Mara's data shows a pattern to the Harbinger's energy consumption. They're not random. They're methodical." "And that helps us how?" asked Secretary Carter. "It means they're predictable," Mara explained. "And anything predictable can be countered. We believe we can develop a weapon that disrupts their energy patterns." Jack looked at the tired but determined faces around him. "Then we have a choice to make. Do we keep this discovery to ourselves, or do we offer the Council one last chance to work together?" On his ship, Captain Ryan listened as the refugees told stories of Council ships abandoning their worlds, of promises broken and people left to die. He made a decision of his own and sent a message to Earth. "Whatever we do," he wrote, "we must do better than they did." 18 months after humanity's departure from the Galactic Council, Jack Miller found himself returning to Nexus Station. This time, he came not as a humble petitioner, but as Earth's official envoy with an offer the Council might not be able to refuse. The station had changed. Gone was the calm, orderly atmosphere. Now, panicked representatives from dozens of species rushed through the corridors. Emergency alerts flashed on screens. Security forces stood at every junction. "It's chaos," Olivia whispered as they walked toward the Council chamber. "Nothing like when we left." Jack nodded. 7 Council worlds lost in 2 months will do that. They were escorted by nervous Drenthai guards to the main chamber. Inside, the scene was even more chaotic. The circular room, once a model of order and decorum, now resembled a war room. The elevated platforms where the 5 ancient species sat were still in place, but representatives shouted over each other while emergency reports scrolled on massive screens. Ambassador Miller announced High Counselor Vextra, her blue scales now dull with stress. Earth returns at an interesting time. "Not as ambassador," Jack corrected. "As Special Envoy Miller. And not to return, but to offer assistance." A ripple of whispers spread through the chamber. The Meveran representative leaned forward. "What kind of assistance could Earth possibly offer against the Harbingers? Our most powerful weapons barely slow them." Jack gestured to the small team behind him, which included Dr. Frank Bishop and Dr. Mara Reeves. "We have made progress understanding the nature of the Void Harbingers, and we have designed prototype weapons that might be effective against them." The Quilaxian military leader, General Lith, rose from his seat. "Impossible. Our greatest scientists have failed to find any weakness." "Perhaps you should have listened to Dr. Reeves when she first brought you evidence of the threat," Jack replied evenly. "Instead, you tried to silence her." Mara stepped forward, facing the Council that had rejected her warnings. "The Harbingers have a unique energy signature. We've developed a method to disrupt it." The chamber erupted in voices. Some demanded immediate access to the human research. Others called it a trick. Jack raised his hand for silence. "Earth is willing to share this technology and join the fight. But we have conditions." "Of course you do," hissed Krulvor, the Zinthari ambassador. "Humans see opportunity in crisis." "Our conditions are simple," Jack continued, ignoring the insult. "A complete restructuring of the Council. Equal representation for all species, regardless of age. Shared access to all technologies. And no more restricted territories." The 5 ancient species representatives looked at each other in shock. What Jack proposed would end their thousands of years of dominance. "This is outrageous," the Drenthai speaker sputtered, his gaseous form swirling rapidly. "You demand we dismantle traditions that have stood for millennia, while the Harbingers advance." "We demand a true alliance," Jack corrected, "not the false one that existed before." Some of the younger species representatives began nodding in agreement. The Terraki delegation openly applauded. "We need time to consider this," Vextra said finally. "You have 48 hours, Jack replied. "The Harbingers won't wait longer than that." As they left the chamber, Frank pulled Jack aside. You know they'll try to steal our research rather than agree to those terms. I'm counting on it, Jack said with a small smile. That's why we brought incomplete data. What we shared won't work without the missing components that only we have. Back in their temporary quarters, the human team received an unexpected visitor. Krelvor entered alone, without guards. You play a dangerous game, Miller, the Zinthari said quietly. No game, Jack replied. Simple choice, evolve or die. Krelvor's yellow eyes narrowed. Some of us are willing to consider your terms. Others would rather face the Harbingers than surrender control. Then those others are fools, Jack said bluntly. And they'll doom us all. As Krelvor left, Olivia looked worried. Will they agree in time? Jack stared out the viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Harbingers continued their advance. Captain Ryan's fleet was already moving into position along with other Earth ships, preparing to act with or without Council approval. They'll agree, Jack said finally, or we'll do it without them. The Council's 48 hours passed with no agreement. The 5 ancient species remained divided, arguing among themselves while the Harbingers claimed another star system. Admiral Julia Chen stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Defiance, watching as her fleet assembled at the edge of human space. 50 ships strong, it was the largest human military force ever gathered. All ships report ready, Admiral, her communications officer reported. Julia nodded. Then we proceed with Operation Firewall, with or without Council approval. The human fleet jumped to faster than light speed, heading directly toward the front lines of the Harbinger advance. Their destination, Terek Prime, the homeworld of the Terraki, predicted to be the next Harbinger target. When the Earth ships arrived, they found Terek Prime already under evacuation. A handful of Council vessels helped shuttle civilians to safety, but no defense fleet was present. The Council abandoned them, Julia said quietly, just as the refugees reported. She opened a channel to all ships. This is Admiral Chen. Deploy according to plan. Form the defensive line. The Earth fleet spread out, creating a barrier between the approaching Harbingers and the planet. On the Defiance, Captain Ryan Adams led a small team including Dr. Frank Bishop to prepare their experimental weapon. Will it work? Ryan asked as Frank made final adjustments to the device. In theory, Frank replied. We've never tested it against actual Harbingers. Ryan's team loaded the device onto a small, unmanned ship. It would fly directly into the Harbinger formation and activate, hopefully disrupting their energy patterns. Before they could launch, 3 massive Council battleships appeared, led by the Quilaxian flagship. Human vessels, came the transmission from High Commander Quilax himself. You are in violation of Council space. Leave immediately. Admiral Chen responded firmly. We're here to defend Terek Prime from the Harbingers. Where is your defense fleet? The Council has strategic priorities, Quilax replied coldly. This system is, unfortunately, not one of them. We're staying, Chen declared. These people need protection. Then you leave us no choice, Quilax threatened. The Council battleships moved to intercept the human fleet. A tense standoff followed, with weapons locked on both sides. But before either could fire, new ships appeared. Tereki vessels, older but numerous, joined by ships from other younger Council species. This is Governor Kirura of Terek Prime, came a familiar voice. It was the same Tereki elder Ryan had rescued months ago. The Tereki people reject Council authority in this matter. We stand with Earth. More ships arrived, vessels from the Novelians, the Bresk, and 3 other younger Council species. They positioned themselves alongside the human fleet. What is the meaning of this? Demanded Quilax. A new alliance, replied Kirura. One that actually protects its members. Faced with this united front, the Quilaxian ships retreated, unwilling to start a war on 2 fronts with the Harbingers approaching. Hours later, the first Harbinger scouts appeared, shimmering, translucent forms that seemed more like living distortions in space than solid creatures. They moved toward the fleet with frightening speed. "Launch the disruptor," ordered Admiral Chen. The small ship carrying Frank's device flew toward the Harbingers. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the Harbinger formations wavered. Several of the energy beings seemed to flicker and fade. "It's working," Frank exclaimed. The Harbingers retreated, but the victory was small. The device had affected only their scouts. The main force would still come. In the aftermath, representatives from the Rebel Council species met aboard the Defiance. "We formally request alliance with Earth," announced Kira. "The Council has failed us. We need partners, not masters." Admiral Chen looked to her communication screen, where Jack Miller watched from Nexus Station. "What should I tell them?" she asked. "Tell them yes," Jack replied. "And tell them more. Tell them about our vision for a new kind of interstellar community, one built on equality, not ancient hierarchies." As the meeting continued, Ryan Adams received word that the Zinthari ambassador, Krulliver, had secretly contacted Earth leadership. More Council species were considering breaking away. "It's happening, isn't it?" Ryan asked Frank. "The whole Council system is coming apart." Frank nodded as they watched the diverse group of aliens and humans planning together. "Something new is forming in its place. Something better, I hope." Outside, the stars shone bright against the darkness of space. Somewhere out there, the Harbingers regrouped. But for the first time, the galaxy faced them not as masters and servants, but as equals standing together. 2 years after humanity's departure from the Galactic Council, the political landscape of the galaxy had changed completely. What began with Earth's stand at Terek Prime had sparked a revolution. In a large conference room aboard the Defiance, now serving as the headquarters for the new alliance, representatives from 23 species gathered around a circular table. No raised platforms, no special seats for ancient species, just equals meeting as equals. Jack Miller looked around the room with quiet satisfaction. 2 years ago, most of us sat in the council chamber as supplicants. Today, we sit as partners. The Tereki leader, Kira, nodded her feathered head. "And we are stronger for it. The Harbingers have not claimed a single world since our alliance formed." This was true. The combined fleet, now led jointly by Admiral Chen and commanders from 7 other species, had successfully defended 3 major systems. The human-designed disruptor weapons, improved with input from allied scientists, were becoming more effective against the Harbingers. "The Council is crumbling," reported Lisa Rodriguez, who had become Earth's chief intelligence officer. 12 more species have requested to join our alliance this week alone. Even more surprising was the presence of Krulliver, the former Zinthari ambassador. He had defected from the Council after the other ancient species refused to change. "The Zinthari colonies are ready to formally join your alliance," he announced. "My people see now that the old ways are ending." "Not my alliance," Jack corrected gently. "Our alliance." As the meeting continued, Dr. Mara Reeves and Dr. Frank Bishop entered with excitement. They had been working together with scientists from the allied species to develop a more powerful version of the disruption weapon. "We've done it," Frank said breathlessly. "The new prototype can affect the main Harbinger clusters, not just their scouts." Mara spread out diagrams on the table. "By combining human quantum theories with Novalian energy manipulation and Bresk containment fields, we've created something entirely new." "How soon can we deploy it?" asked Admiral Chen, who had joined by hologram from the front lines. 2 weeks to build enough for the fleet," Frank replied. "But there's a catch. The weapons must be deployed from inside the Harbinger formations. Someone has to fly directly into them." A heavy silence fell over the room. Flying into the heart of the Harbinger swarms was almost certainly a suicide mission. "I'll do it," said Captain Ryan Adams without hesitation. Before anyone could respond, the meeting was interrupted by an unexpected arrival. 3 representatives from the Council entered the room, not enforcers or diplomats, but the Illuvian Elder, oldest of the ancient species, flanked by 2 attendants. The Elder was ancient beyond reckoning, her crystalline body containing the memories of thousands of years. She rarely left the inner chambers of Nexus Station. "I come with knowledge," the elder said, her voice resonating strangely. "Knowledge the Council has kept hidden for too long." Jack stood to greet her. "What knowledge?" "The Harbingers have come before," she revealed. "Twice in the memory of my species. The last time was 50,000 years ago." The room fell silent as she continued. "The Council found records of how our ancestors defeated them, but kept this knowledge secret, believing the Harbingers would never return in their lifetime." "Why reveal this now?" Jack asked. "Because your alliance has done what the Council never could, united species truly as equals, and only together can the Harbingers be defeated." The elder placed an ancient data crystal on the table. "This contains everything we know about the previous Harbinger incursions. Use it wisely." As the elder turned to leave, Krelvor spoke. "Does the Council know you've come here?" "The Council as we knew it no longer exists," the elder replied sadly. "The Meverins and Drenthai have already fled to the far reaches of the galaxy. The Quilaxians fight alone and are losing. What I do now, I do for the future of all species, not just the ancient ones." After she left, Jack and the others examined the crystal's contents. It confirmed much of what they had already discovered, but added crucial details about Harbinger behavior. "This changes everything," Mara said. "With this knowledge and our new weapons, we have a real chance." Jack looked around at the diverse group of aliens and humans working together. "Then let's finish this. Not for the old Council, not even for our individual species, but for all life in this galaxy." The Vega sector blazed with energy as the final battle began. The combined fleet of the new alliance faced the main cluster of Void Harbingers. Over 300 ships from 28 different species moved in perfect coordination, putting into practice strategies developed by their joint command. On the bridge of the Defiance, Admiral Julia Chen watched as the first phase of their plan unfolded. "All ships in position," reported her Novalian second in command. "Containment field generators ready." "Begin Phase 1, Julia ordered. Smaller ships darted forward, drawing the Harbinger's attention. Meanwhile, larger vessels moved into a spherical formation around the massive energy cluster that formed the Harbinger's core. Captain Ryan Adams piloted his ship toward the center of the formation. In the cargo hold, the new disruption device hummed with power. Based on the Illuvian Elders' ancient knowledge and the combined science of multiple species, it was their best hope. "Final approach," Ryan reported. 60 seconds to optimal position." In his ear, Jack Miller's voice came through. "The entire alliance is with you, Ryan." From ships throughout the fleet, scientists and engineers from dozens of worlds monitored the mission. Dr. Frank Bishop and Dr. Mara Reeves worked alongside Taraki, Zinthari, and Bresk experts, making final adjustments to the device remotely. "Energy levels stable," Frank reported. "The containment field is holding." As Ryan's ship approached the swirling center of the Harbinger mass, strange energy tendrils reached toward him. The ship shuddered. "Hull temperature rising," Ryan said calmly. "Shields at 60% and dropping." Outside, the battle rage. Alliance ships fired precise bursts at key points in the Harbinger formation, using the patterns discovered in the Illuvian data to target their weakest points. 30 seconds to target, Ryan announced as his ship pushed deeper into the energy storm. "Shields at 40%. "We're losing him," someone said on the command channel. "No," Julia responded firmly. "We're not." Suddenly, a dozen ships broke formation and followed Ryan into the maelstrom. They weren't part of the plan. "What are they doing?" Jack demanded. Kirra's voice answered, "Ensuring the mission succeeds." One by one, ships from every species in the Alliance formed a protective corridor around Ryan's vessel, absorbing damage meant for him. A Taraki ship, a Zinthari cruiser, the Novalian scout, even a Quilaxian battleship that had defected from the Council. 10 seconds, Ryan said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. Initiating final sequence. The disruption device powered up to full capacity, drawing energy from his ship's core. The vessel went dark as all power diverted to the weapon. "Now," shouted Mara over the comm. Ryan activated the device. For one terrible moment, nothing happened. Then a pulse of blue-white energy burst from his ship, spreading outward through the Harbinger mass. Where it touched, the Harbinger's energy patterns destabilized and collapsed. "It's working." Frank's voice crackled over the comm. Across the fleet, cheers erupted as the Harbingers began to dissipate. The swirling vortex of destructive energy that had consumed worlds fractured and broke apart. In the center, Ryan's ship drifted, powerless but intact. Against all odds, he had survived. 3 months later, representatives from 45 species gathered on Nexus Station. The old council chamber had been rebuilt. No more elevated platforms, just a simple circular space where all could meet as equals. Jack Miller stood beside Kira, Krulvor, and leaders from dozens of worlds as they signed the charter for the new Galactic Alliance. "Today marks a new beginning," Jack said to the assembled delegates. "Not a council where some dictate to others, but an alliance where all voices matter." Outside the chamber, a monument had been erected. It displayed ships from all allied species flying together, and beneath it was an inscription. "The day humans departed the Galactic Council was the day the universe learned that unity requires equality."